If the series wants to hook old fans and new viewers, I feel like the episodes need to go deeper. We know what's in the books, we know what's in the films. There's a very difficult challenge there to combine the two and give us something that is going to give us the same feeling. I've been thinking about the new Harry Potter HBO series. Today I'm going to be explaining what I think should be in episode 1. Welcome to the Room of Requirements. Today it's filled with answers and theories. We do know that the first season is going to have 8 episodes. How will the first Harry Potter book fit into 8 episodes? It's going to be interesting, it's going to be exciting. I want you to join me on this journey. So do share your ideas and theories that you think I should include. I will be doing a theory breakdown video for each episode of the new HBO Harry Potter series. What should be included? What can be included? What theories did they completely miss out of the film? What was in the book that I think should be included? Today's theory comes straight from the restricted section, and trust me, they didn't want you finding out about this one. In the book, The Boy Who Lived starts not with Harry but with Vernon Dursley, where Dursley notices odd people in cloaks and flying owls by day. It's eerie even for a kid's book. The film, however, skips all of that. We see Dumbledore kind of turn up at number 4. We see McGonagall as the cat, and that brings us a nice start to the show. It always starts with the home element, which is nice. For example, the UK being the main backdrop for the filming. Having a house, a typical home, draws a lot on people's general lives. When you see it start in that way, the street lights, turning the lights off, it's almost like you could see yourself being in that environment. It's a longer way from magic, but I feel like we could have a whole new section there. What about if we saw the fall of Voldemort and Lily's sacrifice? Maybe that flashback that we have later on in episodes should be at the starting. Should we see that whole section? What happens before Harry is delivered to number 4 Privet Drive? I think it should be. Now that we've got a little bit more time, have we though? HBO's announced it's 8 episodes, so we're looking at 45 minutes per episode. We could probably double what is in the film, but looking back at some of the videos and some of the conversations, I feel like there's a lot of footage that they took out of the movie to cut it down. I feel like they could easily go for longer. It could be quadruple the length of what it is at the moment. What could season 1 expand on? So here's my theory. I think in episode 1 we shouldn't start with the classic. I don't want to mess up the classic Harry Potter starting. It's got its own unique feel to it, and it makes you warm to the fact that this is real. Having a magical series of episodes starting in a UK environment, a house where baby Harry Potter is being delivered to number 4 Privet Drive. It almost brings it to life as if it's a real scenario. Obviously later on there's a lot of magical elements to it, but I feel like maybe the season should start with the war, the Wizarding War, which brings down Voldemort. Imagine episode 1 starting with the actual attack on Godric's Hollow. Not just a flash of green light, but a full scene. We could finally see James protecting Harry, Lily's sacrifice, Voldemort's entrance, maybe even a moment of fear or hesitation on his part. Let's have a little theory. What would that scene look like? So if HBO might do things differently, a flashback structure, the kind of flashback we get later on where Lily sacrifices herself to save Harry, maybe that's something to start with. What do you think? I feel like there could even be a little bit push on Voldemort's defeat, the Ministry in like chaos, Daily Prophet headlines, a little bit of a push to say Voldemort's gone. What happened? A little bit more in the moment. That would be a nice start to setting up episode 1. The tone of this episode is going to be quite critical. I feel like the book was whimsical but also deeply sad in bits. I feel like we've got a chance here where we can show a little bit more about Harry's dark side. Even though he's a child, the Dursleys were afraid of him. In the movie, it's more a little bit comedical, the way he's kind of bullied. It's not shown to the extent that he does get bullied. I feel like the cruelty that's there can be a little bit built upon. Already seeing scenes coming out, I feel like they're filming the zoo episode and there's ice creams involved. There's a little bit more being filmed. We never know what bits of the filming will make it to the final cut. Like in the original Harry Potter, there are a lot of scenes they cut away. So you may be seeing things in the news and headlines about certain aspects being filmed. Let's just hope most of them make them into the final episode. I think in episode 1 must have scenes. This is something I feel like needs to be there. I think Vernon's strange day at work, cloaked people hugging him, whispering about the Potters. I think there was a little bit of a touch in the films about McGonagall's worry of having Harry raised with muggles. There's a slight touch to that, but I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of a conversation which we can see happening around that, which will bring that into a nice turn as McGonagall's like a motherly figure to Harry in a way. And I also feel like Hagrid's an important part of Harry's life, and in the early seasons we see him dropping Harry off, being very sad and emotional, and we can play a little bit on that to maybe have a little bit more scenes involving how he's sad and he's discussing that. It was done well in the movies. I liked the slight touch on that. You could tell that Hagrid's a big gentle giant. I feel like in the movie the scar is shown, but it's not really mentioned. I feel like there can be a little bit more about, if we include the scene I talked about where we see the fall of Voldemort and Lily and James. Maybe that draws on the fact that how the scar was made, and a little bit touch just to draw attention to that early on. Most of the people watching will already know the background, but it's nice to elaborate and have some more background on that. There's some amazing quotes that could be included. He'll be famous, a legend. I wouldn't be surprised if today was known as Harry Potter Day in the future. There's something there, I think, that can be included. That's a nice quote I liked. Here's what I'll be watching for. In summary, episode 1, there are some elements I definitely want to see. And I feel like Vernon's point of view of how the Wizarding World communicates Voldemort's passing and James and Lily and Harry Potter's little fiasco. Will we see the first Wizarding War at all? That'll be a nice important one. Will Dumbledore's decision to leave Harry at Privet Drive feel more calculated, more mysterious? Because I feel like we should get insight into Dumbledore's forward thinking, because he knows how important Harry is and what the end goal is. So I feel like there's more there we could play on. The books did a good job. The movie didn't include everything that was in the books. I feel like there's elements we can draw on. Let me know in the comments, what would you like to include in episode 1? What could we do without? And what is the Wizarding World gonna be like once the new HBO series does come out? Drop your predictions in the comments. This was my summary of episode 1. Key elements included. I'll see you on episode 2 just here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell for more magic.